Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. Tonight we have a gentleman from South Orange County, California, who has captured some, I just can't say how unique they are because they're just, I've never seen anyone quite like this particular capture. And it really caught my eye. So I reached out to this gentleman and we got to talking and he agreed to come on the show. His name is John Rusciano and he has a website entitled etskywatch.com. And there are a few videos on there right now. From what I understand, he just really started this night vision capture thing. And already he's just got some amazing footage that we will be looking at tonight, as well as letting John explain to us what they're all about. So, without further ado, Mr. Rusciano, are you out there, sir?
Yes, Rick. Good evening.
John, thanks very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Now, you are located in South Orange County. What is that, about 45 miles south of Los Angeles, just for the viewers' edification?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah. As some people know, that's kind of my old stomping ground there. And it's just a beautiful area, very upscale, beautiful homes. Lots of nice rolling hills right next to the ocean. And it's just, I think, the best place in the world to live, as long as you don't have to commute. So, John, your story goes back, as many of our guests have explained in past episodes. Your experiences start at a very young age. Is that correct?
Yes, going back probably to about the age of 5 is when I started having my first experiences.
And what types of things were you experiencing?
Well, I would get visited, and mostly what people would refer to as abduction experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use the word abduction because it makes it sound like we're taken against our will. I prefer the word detainment over abduction. What I've learned over the years that these things are not done without our permission, even though that we may not be consciously aware while we're having these experiences. But it was later in life that I realized that we chose to be part of this program that has been ongoing.
Wow, I have never heard anyone put it like that before. What can you give me an example of how somebody signs up or agrees to these detainments, as you referred to them?
Yes, well, first and foremost, one thing that we need to understand is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we are non-physical energy, first and foremost. That's what we truly are. And in this spirit state, in the non-physical spirit state, we're fully aware of who and what we are. And agreements are made on those planes.
I just interviewed someone that was explaining this ball of energy that was witnessed. And so do you think that some of these UFOs, these orbs that people are experiencing, are actually us humans in our native state?
I believe that some of them are, yes, and some of them may be, what do I want to say, other intelligence that are in non-physical form besides human.
I think that's probably the biggest or the hardest thing people have understanding is this whole thing between physical and non-physical. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but like you said, it's a spiritual thing. So
It's
after these you started having these detainments. Um what transpired after that? Did these just continue through your teenage and adult life?
Yes, they did, but the interesting thing is there's been periods of what I would refer to as non-activity. They would come in waves. I would get a lot of them for a period of time, and then it would just kind of quiet down for a while, and then they would start up again. And they have changed in format as I've gotten older, and the interactions that are going on now are much different than they were in the beginning. Right now, it's more of a sharing of information of why they're here, what they're doing, and the messages that they're really giving me and that they have been sending is that they are here to help us. But they're not here to fix our problems, but they are here to assist.
Now, we've heard the reports of the UFOs shutting down nuclear missile silos, etc. Would you say that that's part of their assistance to us, keeping us from blowing ourselves to smithereens?
Yes, part of that's true, and they've actually had what they would refer as non-interference, and they will allow us to blow ourselves up without interfering. The thing is, setting off a certain size nuclear device not only would affect our world, but it would also affect other dimensions of reality. And when something of that magnitude were to transpire, they would not allow it to happen, because it's not just affecting our world, it's actually affecting other worlds besides our own.
I understand that both of these videos that we're going to be looking at tonight involve the CE5 protocol. Can you talk to us a little bit about that and exactly what is the CE5 protocol?
Yes, the CE5 protocol is close encounters of the fifth kind, and it is contact that is initiated by us to them. And what it really involves is a few things. One is getting into what was referred to as a state of coherence, where the mind and the heart become synchronized and in balance with each other. And we set our intentions and send our thoughts out that we desire to have open contact with them and communication with them. And this is picked up by them. And a lot of people don't know why and how this can be done, but in truth, everything is connected. Nothing is separate. Our quantum scientists already know this. They realize. And regardless of what something is, when you render it renders down into energy. And so everything is energy, everything is consciousness, it's all alive, everything is touching. So you can't really tell where something ends and something begins. The other thing is you can't have an experiment without an observer. The observer affects everything. So your thoughts go out into the hologram, into the one thing, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the one, God. And the extraterrestrials, the ones at least that I'm aware of, are all telepathically bonded. And so they're able to pick up on this consciousness. It has a specific vibrational pattern that they are able to recognize. And so when you get in the state of coherence through the meditation and also using some other tools, some tones that were recorded from some crop circles that they have found these very interesting tones that were emanating from these circles. They recorded them. They used these tools also and transmit them along with the meditations, and they are picked up by the extraterrestrials. And in the proper state of mind, raising your vibration up, because they are on a higher vibrational plane. And when I mean higher vibrational plane, I'm not talking about better and less than. I'm just saying dimensionally they are in a higher vibration. So what we're doing is raising our vibration up, and they step their vibration down, and we meet somewhere in the middle, and contact can take place.
Amazing. So is this something that one needs to practice to be good at?
Practice does help, but this is something that anyone can do. And it doesn't take any special abilities. Everyone has the ability to do this. There's no one person that's better than another. It's just a matter of learning how to do these things, be willing to do these things, and those that are willing and openly willing to seek and make meaningful contact with them for the purposes of a meaningful interaction, they are more than willing to interact with anyone that is coming from that place.
Wow. So, John, let's look at the first video. This video that you took on the evening of August 25th, 2013. So about a month ago, less than a month ago. They're in South Orange County, and I'm going to pull this up so that the viewers can see it as well. But what we see here appear to be 4 lights flying in a V formation, and this was taken with night vision equipment and videotape. Now, when you saw these 4 lights going by, as I told you before, to me it appeared to be or looked like a one object, some type of triangle. But from what you're saying, if you look at it very closely, it's actually 4 separate lights or 4 separate objects.
That is correct. It is 4. We originally thought it was 1 also. And after closer analysis, we realized it was actually 4 separate objects flying in formation. What's interesting, even in that film, you'll notice that there's a segment in there where another craft actually flew over at very, very high speed through the frame.
Yes, I'm gonna point that out to the viewers here while rerunning the video. That singular object, it appears, is probably moving 5 times as fast as the 4 main lights.
Easily, yes, very, very fast.
Now, one thing that we talked about, John, was because you're using night vision technology, could any of this be satellites? Of course, I don't know any satellites that fly around in formations like that. But you also mentioned that satellites caught on night vision move much faster than what we're seeing here with the 4 lights, right?
Actually, the satellite, they pass over fairly slowly.
Oh, slowly. So it's just the opposite. Just the opposite.
Yeah, they're very slow, passing through the night sky. They're very easy to spot. They do sometimes, you will see flares from them at times, depending on where they are in the position of the sun. So they can flash. There's iridium satellites, they will flash. But that's not what we're looking at here in the video.
So as far as this this formation of the four separate objects. Is this something that you utilize this CE5 protocol, or was this something that you just happened to catch?
We had used the CE5 protocols. We had initiated these protocols, but the thing that was interesting about this, we're actually doing some other interesting things with the tones and with the meditation, and we were also using some other devices. We were using scalar wave devices also to transmit these signals. And we noticed that when we started using these scalar wave devices along with these other tools, that we recorded a lot of UFO traffic over my home that particular night. There's still footage that I haven't put up from that very evening, but there was a lot of traffic. I put that one up because it was the most significant. But we were getting some craft, two at a time, flying, and they would fly up over the top of my house. Once they'd come up over my house, they would turn and head off in a different direction, as if they were looking to see, you know, where these transmissions were.
Now, you mentioned the scalar waves. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What these scalar waves are, and how are they produced?
There was a scientist, he was ex-NASA scientist, and Dr. Fred Bell, who I had the privilege of working with for a bit before he passed away here a few years ago. And he had developed what he referred to as these holographic projectors. And they're pyramid-shaped dishes, you know, in the center with pyramids in them that are laid out in the Fibonacci series. And what they do is they take energy in through these stones down into the center of these dishes, and then transmute these signals and send them back out as scalar waves. These waves actually increase over distance. They don't diminish over distance. They actually increase over distance.
Wow.
So what was happening is that once we were playing these tones and transmitting them and putting these in a certain pattern, and it was amplifying these signals, it became obvious because all the traffic that we were seeing that night was passing directly over my home. It wasn't like we were seeing it off in the distance or, you know, out away from where we actually were. The traffic was all directed up over the top of my home. And it was interesting is because they would come up over my house. Once they would come up over my home, they would just kind of turn off and go about whatever their business was. They didn't stop to hang out or anything like that. It was like they were busy going somewhere, and they kind of rerouted themselves, came by, check it out, and then they were on their way.
Now, you know, one more thing on these scalar waves. Do you have like some type of synthesizer keyboard like on Close Encounters of the Third Kind movie where you're producing this sequence of tones? Or are they pre-recorded, or what's up with that?
We actually used, it's an application that Dr. Stephen Greer developed for what he refers to as first contact specialist. What he does is he trains people on how to make first contact, how to initiate these protocols. And he has created an application that you can download to either an iPhone or to an Android. And it has these tones already on these applications that you can play. And we just happen to use the application and then transmit these tones via a radio.
Wow.
Walkie-talkie type radio.
Okay, gotcha.
Wireless.
Unbelievable stuff, let me tell you. Well, let's, I want to pull up the second video. Now, this one here, Again, per my notes, you were utilizing CE5 protocol. It looks like you were also utilizing some type of laser pointer. Uh, does the laser play into this simply for pointing out the object to someone who might be viewing the tape, or does that laser light have other reasons it's used?
Actually, both of the above. One, when you have somebody else with you or other people that are also looking through night vision, in my particular case, it happens to be my best friend who's doing the reporting, it's a way of actually pointing out where the object is so that he can dial it in. The other thing is you can signal them, and if they're willing, they will also signal back. This is not always the case, but sometimes they are willing to interact, and when you signal them, they will also signal you back. So this also happens.
And that's what we're seeing in this second video here is this object communicating, I guess would be the word, right? Communicating back to your signal?
I'm not sure which video that you actually have up right now.
I'm sorry. This was this one says that this is the one that you sent me a link to, the last link you sent me, where you were summoning the object. UFO seen flashing over San Juan Capistrano on August 25th.
Hard to say with that one. That's an interesting. That was an interesting sighting in and of itself. That object is actually popped in. It was there. It wasn't there one moment, and that object literally materialized. As I was watching, it just literally popped up. It wasn't something that just passed into the screen. It just, 1 minute it was there, wasn't there, 1 minute it was there. And when it popped in, it was already flashing. And I tried to see if I could get it to do something else by signaling the laser. I don't think that had any effect on it. But there was some communication. We did get some downloads of information from that particular sighting, but I'm not sure. I can't really say that the laser had anything to do with that particular sighting.
Now, so there's, if someone were to ask you, could this flashing light that just appeared, it couldn't have been a satellite, couldn't have been an airplane that had, changed its course to where its headlights were now facing you. Those things have been ruled out as far as you're concerned, right?
Yes, for many different reasons. One, that's just a portion of the clip. We recorded probably about another minute of that particular sighting there. The other thing is there was no noise whatsoever. The object was moving too slow to actually be a plane. The flashing are not regular patterns. And like I said, there was other information that was received during that contact as well that was downloaded to both myself and to my friend who was here.
So when you say that information downloaded, what kind of information was downloaded?
What happens is that in some of these cases, not in all cases, but in this particular case, there was what I would refer to as a telepathic communication. They're basically sending thoughts and pictures. And it's not words, it's more impressions, but with pictures in thought form. And the messages are pretty much the same. And one of the things that they're trying to communicate with us right now is about what's going on our planet. They're very concerned about what we're doing, especially in the Middle East. And they've been giving warnings that they're very concerned, and that we need to stop going to war with each other. That's not the answer.
What is the answer?
The answer is that we need to find the differences in one another and build on those differences. And the knowledge that has been shared, this is bridge knowledge. This is from many, many different contacts. But if you take the basic information that I've been giving over the years and that has been building, is that there really is only one thing within creation. And that one thing within creation is experience in itself as all the different things that it can. And like I was explaining earlier, they explained to me that everything is connected, much like a holographic plate. If you were to have an image of a plate and a hologram, and you took the plate and you threw it down on the floor and it busted into a lot of little pieces. If you pick up any piece, each piece contains the information of the whole, regardless of how small the piece is. And the same is true for us, is that we all contain the information of the whole. We are all part of the hologram. We are not separate from each other. And we are treating each other like we are separate.
Right.
We're better, they're better. In reality, that's not the case. All the pieces make up the whole, and the whole makes up the pieces. So without all the pieces, we're not whole. And the message is that we need to become whole. And all the money they're saying that, they're not saying, but what they're sending is, if we put half the effort into healing and finding the differences and supporting the differences in each other, there won't be no need for war.
Agreed.
That the whole supports the pieces, but we have to be able to see the value of the pieces, because every is doing it.
Well, I tell you that theory, it does
There's a place where it fits.
Oh, I'm sorry. That theory does match up with, the scientific theories that the universe was created by this big bang of one singular thing, piece of mass, and everything that's in the universe today came from that single piece of mass, I guess, right? So
Yes, that is correct. Is that we're all one thing. There is no outside. Everything is one thing. It's all within consciousness. There is no outside anything.
well, listen, John, we're just about out of time here. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for being here tonight, allowing us to show your videos, filling us in on a lot of information that we have not talked about on this show yet. So this is great stuff. I do want to mention your website is etskywatch, all one word, .com. Would you like to give out your Facebook page as well?
Yes, that'd be great. And that's also on Facebook at ET Skywatch.
Okay. And then if people want to look at these videos on their own time, they can do so on via YouTube. And your YouTube page is also ET Skywatch on YouTube, correct?
Yes, that makes it easy.
Yeah. Sounds easy to me. Well, listen, John, I would very much like to keep up with you, keep in touch with you, and perhaps you can come back here in a little while and give us an update on what you see going on.
I would love to, Rick. My pleasure. And we are looking at doing a few different things and using some infrared technology and implementing that into what we're doing. And so it should be interesting moving forward.
Absolutely. Well, then I would implore everyone to check out John's website as well as the YouTube page. Take a look at these videos close up because they truly, truly are amazing. All right, John. Well, listen, it's been wonderful. You have a great rest of the evening out there in beautiful South Orange County, and we'll stay in touch.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Good night.
Good night.
The answer is to keep it. You'll believe it when you find something screaming across your mind. Green slime.
Beautiful homes, lots of nice rolling hills right next to the ocean. And it's just, I think, the best place in the world to live, as long as you don't have to commute. So, John, your story goes back, as many of our guests have explained in past episodes. Your experiences start at a very young age. Is that correct?
Yes, going back probably to about the age of 5 is when I started having my first experiences.
And what types of things were you experiencing?
Well, I would get visited, and mostly what people would refer to as abduction experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use the word abduction because it makes it sound like we're taken against our will. I prefer the word detainment over abduction. What I've learned over the years that these things are not done without our permission, even though that we may not be consciously aware while we're having these experiences, but it was later in life.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. Tonight we have a gentleman from South Orange County, California, who has captured some, I just can't say how unique they are because they're just, I've never seen anyone quite like this particular capture. And it really caught my eye. So I reached out to this gentleman, and we got to talking, and he agreed.
That I realized that we chose to be part of this program that has been ongoing.
Wow, I have never heard anyone put it like that before. What can you give me an example of how somebody signs up or agrees to these detainments, as you refer to them?
Yes, well, first and foremost, one thing that we need to understand is that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are non-physical energy. First and foremost, that's what we truly are. And in this spirit state, in the non-physical spirit state, we're fully aware of who and what we are, and agreements are made on those planes.
I just interviewed someone that was explaining this ball of energy that was witnessed. And so, do you think to come on the show? His name is John Rusciano, and he has a website entitled etskywatch.com. And there are a few videos on there right now. From what I understand, he just really started this night vision capture thing. And already he's just got some amazing footage that we will be looking at tonight, as well as letting John explain to us what they're all about. So, without further ado, Mr. Rusciano, are you out there, sir?
Yes, Rick, good evening.
John, thanks very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Now, you are located in South Orange County. What is that, about 45 miles south of Los Angeles, just for the viewers' edification?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah. As some people know, that's kind of my old stomping ground there. And it's just a beautiful area, very upscale, that some of these UFOs, these orbs that people are experiencing are actually us, humans, in our native state?
I believe that some of them are, yes, and some of them may be, what do I want to say, other intelligence that are in non-physical form besides human.
You know, I think that's probably the biggest or the hardest thing people have understanding, is this whole thing between physical and non-physical. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, but like you said, it's a spiritual thing. So after these you started having these detainments. What transpired after that? Did these just continue through your teenage and adult life?
Yes, they did, but the interesting thing is there's been periods of